What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about something that I just don't really talk about a lot, and that's dating and having anxiety. Should you date? I'm also going to touch on what it's like with my experience and my 2 cents on being in a relationship, then developing anxiety, because that happens to a lot of people as well. But you know what time it is. Smash the like button down below if you're ready to kick anxiety in the butt. Leave me a comment, guys. Let me know what your dating has been like, your relationship, your love life has been like since having anxiety. Okay, some of you are trying to enter dating, you have some experience, share that. I'm sure you'll find good and bad. I talk to people all the time. I've coached tons of people. I've heard of people having really supportive partners. I've had, conversations with people that it led to a breakup or a divorce. I have both sides that I'm going to explain, and I'm going to give my 2 cents and advice on the situation. So when it comes to my experience with this, guys, I was already in a relationship for about 2 to 2.5 years when I had my first panic attack. Then I had my cardiophobia, my health anxiety took over. I was having symptoms every day. I will say I was open and transparent, which is something that I'll talk about later, but it's very, very important. You want to be honest to your partner, or honest whenever you're about to date. Be transparent about what's going on in your life. Let them know everything, but also don't expect them to fully understand what you're going through. So I was dealing with that. There was a lot of fear. I think agitation and tension in our relationship started to build, mainly because it was always about me. That's something that can happen whenever you're in a relationship and you have really bad anxiety. It's like, for me, it was like, you're fine, you're alive, you're healthy, but I'm over here dying, and it can be taxing on a relationship. That selfishness really starts to show, and you're not trying to be selfish, but it just happens. So that was something that was happening in our relationship. And then it got so bad, guys, with the panic and the symptoms from waking up to the insomnia at night, I started to drink a lot more. Now, I had drank and partied and stuff before this. It's actually was the trigger of my first panic attack. But it got even worse. I started drinking earlier, staying out later, and you know that that's not going to work well in a relationship. Of course, I would ask her to go out with me, but she wasn't trying to do that all the time. So I would do it to make my mind shut off. I would do that to check out, to have a break. It was the only time that my symptoms would stop. It was the only time that I would feel at peace. So I started doing it more and more and more, and that is not going to help the relationship at all. And fellas, guys, piece of advice: it doesn't matter if you're not cheating on your girl when you go out and things like that. If you come stumbling in at 1 to 3 a.m. every night, the relationship isn't going to work. Okay, so I continued to do this during the day. There would be some moments of peace, and there'd be some times where we would have a good time, or maybe occasionally go on a nice lunch date and things like that, but just things weren't the same. And it was mainly because I was coping with anxiety in an unhealthy way. Now, she have been more supportive? I believe so. I believe my wife now, she handled it a little bit better than my ex did at the time, but I was a huge part to blame for that failed relationship. Just the drinking, and then that would lead to arguments and stuff like that. We never had some abusive or physical abuse like type relationship. There was nothing like that, but it was bickering, arguing. You don't care about me. You don't understand me, what I'm going through. I feel like I'm dying. And then I just felt like eventually she was just like, she couldn't, She let me know. We had our parting. Wasn't the prettiest parting, not a ton of closure. I was really upset, heartbroken. I didn't see it coming. Weirdly enough, I didn't see it coming. It was one of those situations where I thought that, no matter what I did, I had her wrapped around my finger and that eventually something would work out and we'd get out of this. My anxiety would stop. But we parted ways, broke my heart. Took a little bit of time to myself, and then that's whenever I started to enter the dating game. And I dated like 3 or 4 people. It's hard for me to remember. But in all 4 of those relationships, I ended up letting the person know that I couldn't do it. I wasn't transparent and honest in the beginning of those relationships either. And I want you guys, I'll go ahead and touch on it now. If you're wanting to go out there and date and experiment with that, something very important: the first few times that you talk to this person, you need to let them know that you struggle with anxiety. You don't have to go into crazy detail at first. I don't want you to go on that first date, guys, and you're pulling the chair out for your girl or whatever, and she sits down and you get in front of the table and be like, so I have really bad anxiety. It's really crippling. I have panic attacks all throughout the day. I think I'm dying. I got a heart problem. I don't want you doing that, okay? Don't come in too hot. Don't be too aggressive. But, you want to kind of casually maybe bring it up in conversation, let them know. And I'm going to say this with dating: if you're not going to be open and honest, if you're not going to be transparent, don't expect that relationship to work, guys. And by the way, when I'm talking about dating, I'm not talking about casual sex or anything like that, or going on like a one date just for fun. I'm talking about like you are interested in this person, you want to have feelings, maybe possibly falling in love, you want a companionship, you want to be with this person for a significant amount of time. That's what I'm talking about here. So being open and transparent, and that was something that I wasn't. So I wanted to hide it. I was embarrassed about my anxiety because, hey, I was like, my last relationship didn't work because of anxiety. And I know a lot of you were there. I'm just not going to tell this person. Doesn't work, because then your partner is like, why is he so quiet? Or, why is he dipping out on me? Or why is he canceling? Or why does he act weird when we're driving? Or why did he have to hurry up and go out of the store? Then you're hiding something, and then eventually it just comes out in the wrong way. Okay, so I wasn't transparent, and I would realize that I wasn't willing to be. Things would be a little weird, and then I'd dip out of the relationship. So that happened for a little bit. So my advice when it comes to wanting to get into dating or anything, you got to understand, are you willing to be honest and transparent without coming in too hot within the first few times that you talk to that person? If you're not, then maybe you should wait. Also, you need to consider the level of your anxiety. If you're somebody that has like severe agoraphobia and you can't even get out of the house, then maybe you should hold back on dating, right? If you need to work on your driving anxiety so you can actually get out and go on a date, then maybe hold back on dating and things like that. If you are somebody that tends to get really angry or even verbally abusive or get physical whenever you're anxious, right? Or you're struggling with anger because of your anxiety, you might want to hold back on dating, okay? So these are all things to take into consideration. And I'll say this: if you're handling your anxiety in an unhealthy way, drug use or alcohol use, we could say alcohol basically is a drug, and you're abusing it, then you may want to try to work on that. Also, I suggest, before getting heavily involved in dating, have a positive outlook for yourself. If you see no hope and you're hoping that just a relationship will fix your anxiety, bad way of thinking. Okay? It doesn't work like that, and you'll find that out quickly. And it's just not good to waste your time, and it's definitely not good to waste somebody else's time, especially if you're not willing to be transparent and honest to that person. It's not fair to them, okay? So when it comes to dating, you need to evaluate all those things before you enter it. Do I think it's possible? Yes. Okay, as far as dating somebody else that has anxiety, I've heard good and bad. But eventually somebody's going to recover or get better before the other one. And it's like, are you going to be able to handle that? Are you going to still be supportive? And another thing, when it comes to dating, I mentioned it earlier, I was kind of selfish. It was all about me. I'm dying. There's something wrong with me. You're healthy. You're fine. You just don't understand it. We have this natural tendency to be selfish when we have anxiety, and it puts strains on ongoing relationships, and it puts strains on, dating and things like that. You'll find yourself talking about your needs, your problems, your struggles all the time. And most people aren't built to take that, especially early on. They'll see it as like, this may be not worth it for me. So you have to take that in consideration. Are you capable of loving and giving the other person just as much attention as you're receiving? So that's another piece of advice. But do I think it's possible to date when you have anxiety? Of course it is. You may have to bounce around to find the right person, okay? But it is possible. Understand that. For me, those things didn't work out, mainly because I wasn't transparent, honest in the beginning. Then I met my wife, okay? So this is an example of some positivity. I still had anxiety for about 1.5 years into my relationship with my wife. I was transparent and honest with her in the beginning, and I think that helped with the communication. I was actually at a point of not handling my anxiety in unhealthy ways like I was before. Did I drink occasionally? Sure. But was I doing it every night? No. Was I going out and partying and doing it? No. I learned my lesson. She helped me clean up my act. She had a child. I think that gave me a sense of responsibility as well. So that, he's my stepson, my first child, right? He was 3 when I got with her. So that helped me grow a little bit. She was so loving, so supportive, and I think that helped so much. And I wouldn't have any of my history any other way. It led me to my wife. Now I have, more beautiful children. Okay. So my life is where it's at. I'm able to help you guys because of my path here. But it shows that relationship worked because I dropped the unhealthy coping mechanisms. I was honest. I was transparent. My panic attacks were starting to fade. I was working a routine. I was using tips and strategies. I was watching videos and things to improve my anxiety. And I think when you show your partner that you're willing to improve and you're willing to get better and to stick with something, to be consistent and better yourself, they like to see that too. Okay, so you got to show them that. And I was able to show her that. And just about a year and a half-ish into our relationship, maybe 2 years, I was done. I wasn't having panic anymore. We got engaged, we got married, we had more children after, and I haven't been back since. So that's a success story. It can work. And I've coached many people, I've talked to many people on the phone. I've heard both sides. I've heard of people being with somebody and they're so supportive. I make sure to tell them how freaking lucky they are. And I've heard of people breaking up or getting a divorce. Unfortunately, it does happen. But hopefully, guys, I'm not a dating expert or anything. This is kind of my 2 cents on this subject, dating and anxiety, because I had anxiety and I dated. And I had a failed relationship and I had an amazing relationship that I'm still in and I'm married. So it shows the good, bad, the ugly, all of that. So don't get discouraged. But I guess a gold piece of advice, don't start dating for it to solve your anxiety problems. Okay? Just don't. I understand wanting to be with somebody, find companionship and everything, but it doesn't need to be a solution to you fixing your anxiety. That's got to just be for you. You got to do that because you love yourself, and you got to rewire. That person's not going to do it for you, okay? But hopefully this video helped you guys. But if you want extra help with your anxiety, if you're ready to recover, if you're ready to live the life that you deserve, the life that I'm living now, check out my course, Elite Anxiety Bootcamp. I'm going to put it down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. It's my blueprint. It's how I recovered from health anxiety, multiple panic attacks every day, generalized anxiety, negative thoughts, chronic symptoms. I was able to change my mindset, my perspective on anxiety. I was able to change my response to the symptoms. I was able to develop a positive lifestyle. I was able to transform, stick with a routine. All of that is included in that course, so get that today if you haven't. It's helping so many people. If you've never tried therapy and you want to get help with that, online therapy, that's also down below in the description. Try that out. You can do it on the laptop, the phone, the PC. Also, there's Facebook groups. There are social networks down there that I run that can help you. It's another place to get my videos, so Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, that's also down there. But subscribe, guys, if you're new, and hit like if you got value. But until next time, guys, keep fighting. I love you all.